Hey YouTube, it's Patrick, and wow, have you seen the price of Bitcoin lately? Yeah, it's over $202, and that's not Mt. Gox prices, that's BTC, and they're pretty accurate, I think, in their pricing on their exchange. Yeah, I wanted to do this video probably like 2 weeks ago. I started thinking about doing this video after the Silk Road closed. Bitcoin dropped to $70 and then quickly regained its value back to 125. So it was at 125 for the longest time. You know, it worked its way up a little bit from 120, but it sat at 125 or 120 area that it seemed like a long time. And then the Silk Road closed, it dropped to $70, and then it immediately after started to rise until it hit 125, and then I was thinking about doing this video at 150, and then I said, man, I really got to do this video at 160 and at 170, and then at 180 I'm like, yeah, I got to do it the next day. And then before I got a chance to even record this video, it's already at 202. So imagine by the time I post this video and it gets a few views, it might be at 210. What is causing this big rush into Bitcoin? One of the main things I think, a lot of people are saying, well, the closure of Silk Road legitimizes Bitcoin as, you know, not being involved with drugs, although there are alternative drug websites that still use Bitcoin, so it's still related to drugs. But is the Chinese. There is a Chinese internet giant called Baidu, and a specific unit of their, I guess, corporation called Jazul. It's their internet security division for firewalls and stuff like that. But they started accepting Bitcoin as payment, and all the exchanges in China have seen doubled the amount of accounts and whatnot. So a lot of new people from China, and China's a huge economy. So it could bring Bitcoin into the $300–400 range. Maybe. That's a guesstimation. I really don't know if that's going to happen. I'm guessing before the sell-off happens, I think people that own Bitcoin are going to be really patient to get the most out of their money before they sell off, because who knows, there might be some new Bitcoin millionaires out of this recent surge in price. I think Bitcoin is kind of positioning itself to be the world's first world reserve, or the next world reserve currency, or maybe it's the new world reserve currency, which is now the US petrodollar. However, I feel that whereas the US dollar, is issued and controlled and for the American government, as in like the yen is for China, and each government has their own currency that they control, Bitcoin was really controlled by the people. Because we decide the price is based on the demand. If a lot of people want Bitcoin and want to use that as internet currency, or they're doing Bitcoin now on smartphones and stuff like that. So in a matter of time, there might be a possibility of seeing Bitcoin like at the gas station, where you just scan your smartphone and pay with Bitcoin that way. That's technology is really far off. However, we're seeing more and more mainstream companies started taking Bitcoin, including this new Chinese company. Could you imagine if Norton or McCaffrey here started accepting Bitcoins? I wonder if it would have the same effect. I don't know if internet security is that big in China. Or could you imagine eBay or like Amazon accepting Bitcoin? That would just be huge. And I could only imagine the run-up on Bitcoin if something like that happened, or something like with this like mobile apps where you can use it at the store. Also, the Bitcoin price would run up then too. So there's a lot of people said that Bitcoin could be priced as high as $1 million. It's kind of hard for me to imagine a ceiling right now because it's really new. And there's some people. There's a Chinese investor that was stating how when petroleum was first traded, how its price was very unstable, just like Bitcoin. There was a Yahoo Finance blog out there by Aaron Pressman, and he says that, Bitcoin has to become more stable in order to be a legitimate currency. And once again, I refer back to the oil. You know, when when it's new, no one really knows the value. People are still getting into Bitcoin, and that's why I really don't see a ceiling on this thing right now, just due to the fact that so many new people can pour into Bitcoin. Now, there's the old argument, of course, you know, that it's not physical, and you know, if we got hit by some nuclear attack or EMP, it would race all computers and all that kind of stuff, and you wouldn't have Bitcoin. I don't think if an EMP hit, the last thing and be like, I need all my money. I need, you know, your US dollars aren't going to help you. Gold and silver or maybe will barely help you in a situation like that. That's when you need pretty much food and guns if an EMP hits. So I don't really worry about it as a fact of, you know, someone's going to steal my Bitcoins. There's several security features that you can, you know, store your Bitcoins offline. Although, you know, the learning curve as of me, as in everybody else, everybody's got to learn the security and see what works for them. And, you know, so they don't get robbed of their new currency. So yeah, with this recent just influx of Bitcoin that literally went from 70 to more than double that, up to now 202, trading on BTC. So what do you think? Do you think there's gonna, you know, do you think it's gonna be higher? Do you think it's gonna be $300 before some people decide to sell off? Will people panic this time? Or do you think a lot of the Bitcoin investors or people that have it aren't really gonna panic like they might have done? I guess there was like a crash in the euro or whatever the last time it went over $200. It, you know, it went from 260 down to like 40 in a matter of a couple days. I don't see that happening this time, because there's a lot more Bitcoin miners as well, and those people, they really, to Bitcoin to make a profit, they need the most amount for their Bitcoin. So they're going to wait to sell them, which, you know, people holding Bitcoin will only hold the value or increase it because it creates a demand. So with all that new stuff, I don't think it's going to, I think it's become more and more stable as the time goes on. So you aren't going to see as big as drops that you will like after the closure of Silk Road, unless there's some horrible incident like, you know, government intervention. They decide to close it down, and really any country could create a massive downturn in price, from China to even smaller countries. As long as the citizens of that country are trading in Bitcoin, if they close it down, you know, obviously those people are going to be out of the Bitcoin game, and really that can really devalue the currency. Other than that, as long as, you know, governments stay out of it, I see it just continuing to rise. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you on YouTube.